Hey guys, welcome back to Learn Web API in 7 Days course. In this lecture, we will be working with Web API OData query options. So these are the things that we will be covering in this lecture. So we'll create ASP.NET Web API, which will have OData capabilities, and then we will try to enable the settings which are required for OData, and then we will start using OData query options in the API calls. And following are the OData query options that we can use with the API calls. We have like order by, select, skip, top, expand, filter, and inline count. So we can actually use all these query options with our API calls. So let's start with Visual Studio. So here I have this Web API configuration class. So as I was talking about this class earlier also, this is the class where we do all kind of settings in ASP.NET Web API. Okay, and so here if you see this line here, it says configuration, the configuration of the HTTP configuration of ASP.NET Web API. It's saying enable query support. That means we are configuring Web API runtime to support OData query options. This is the only setting required in the configuration for working with OData. Now we have this controller, API controller. Here actually there are few things which are required in order to have OData query options support on the API controller. So first of all, we need to define a class which actually is derived from enable query attributes, and this enable query attribute is actually action filter attribute of http.odata. When this class is created and it overrides this method validate query, and then there is one more method which we use as a validator. So there is one more thing which we need to check with the Web API OData query option, that is kind of having validators. So we have tried to implement a validator also here, and so this is the class which we will be using out here, and then we will run the API and see how things work out here. So these are the two things which we need to do. First is we need to do this setting in Web API configuration class, and then in our API controller we need to define this custom class which actually is derived from enable query options, and do these settings, the validation query settings, and then there is one more query behavior here which is actually used for further validation options. Okay, so I have this this method here which says get all employees. Okay, and when this method is hit, I'm having OData query option here, and so this filter will be applied here, and the result will be returned to the user based on what kind of option OData option is demanded in the API call. So let's run this application and try our OData query options. So first let's try order by. This is one of the very basic query option. So the API application is running now. It's running, and then I'm going to call this from this tool called Postman. So first of all, I'm going to try order by, and in order to try order by, we need to have this query here. Okay, so this is the query which we use for order by. So what I am seeing here is order by employee name. It is one of the property in the employee collection, and I'm saying ascending. So I'm telling the API controller call basically that I want all the employees from the employee collection, and I want them sorted on employee name in ascending order. So let's set this. Yeah, the college come here. It's pulling all the data. Okay, you can see here. So this is how the data is coming from database. So it is sorted on employee name. You see this A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, whatever. Okay, so this is how we can use order by. We can use other properties also, like salary. Let's try salary. I think this may not work because it is yeah, it did work. So you can see this is sorted on the salary now. So this is how we can use order by option. Now let's try the other one, equal. Basically the filter option. I'm going to say that I want all the employees having filter on employee code, and employee code of that employee is 4. I want just that employee. So let's run it and see. Yeah, so you see this, I got that employee where employee code is equal to 4. So this is how we can use filter option also. I think for greater than they use GT. So let's try this. Yeah, so GT means greater than 4. So it is filtering all the employees where employee code is greater than 4. So this is how we use filter on OData. And now let's see in debug mode how it goes. So if you can see here, I'm getting this OData query option here as a parameter, and this is telling me what kind of request it is. So you see this, this is how request is coming up here, and in this request is actually creating OData validation settings, and then it is pulling all the employees. So I have all 5 employees in here, and so when this validation method is getting fired, this is where it is applying the filter, and then it is returning the result. So this is how OData options work with Web API. Now let's try a couple of more. Now we'll try top and skip. So I'll just change the call here. So what I'm seeing here is I need all the top records in the collection, but I'm saying skip 1. Okay, so you see this, so it's taking all the records, but it is skipping the first record. Now let's say we keep it 2 and we disable this debugger here, and now I'll say get me this record. Now you see this, it is skipping 2 records, so there is just 1 record left. So this is how it skip and this thing works. So let's just apply top only, so it's getting top 2 records. If you apply 1, it should get just 1 record. Yeah, so this is how top works. Now there are a couple of other things which we can try with these OData query options. One thing is, as I was telling you guys, that in this custom class, the validator class, there are few things which you can disallow, which you can not let the API apply filter on. So if you see this, if I use order by clause, and in that if we are using descending, then this code is going to run and it is going to say descending is not allowed on this API call. So let's try that and see what happens. I'm going to put the debugging it in debugging mode so that we will see how it moves. So this is the API call which we can use for this purpose. Okay, I'm going to hear this. It's coming here. Okay, and now when this method is being called, you see this, it is doing actual validation. Now it is checking if it is descending, and yes, it is descending, and it is going to throw the exception. Employee number this. See, this is not going to allow it. If you change it to say ASC, because we are not using anything on ascending, so the code will run perfectly. Yeah. Now one more thing here is we can actually limit these query options in the API calls. So if you see here in this, there's one more method which I am having. I just commented that out, so I'm going to enable this and get this up. Now I have this API control call where I'm saying allow only skip and top. Okay, apart from skip and top, nothing is allowed on this API call. So let us build this and run it and see whether other API options work or not. It's running it. I think it is started. Now let us see, let's try the order by only now and see what happens. Yeah, we got the problem here. It's saying query option order by is not allowed. To allow it, set the allowed query option property on enable attribute or query validation settings. So we need to have that in order to run this order by stuff. But since we have enabled this guy escape, so let's try escape if that works. Or top. Let's try top 2. See, this is working because we are allowing top here. We are allowing escape in top only. So that's why it's giving us the result. So guys, this is how you can use OData query options with the ASP.NET Web API calls. This is pretty simple. You just need to have this custom validator class created, wherein you need to do all these kind of validation settings, and then in API configuration just enable the support for OData query options. So this was it. So thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in next lecture.